Art the Clown, flash in the pan, or the next horror icon? It's Pots and Monsters, you fucking psychos!
Scream for your life! To a new world of gods and monsters.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What cut? Wow.
That, of course, was from Terrifier, the new movie. Well, not new, but a movie that is really making an impact in the horror community. And we can't wait to talk about it here on Pods and Monsters. I'm your host, The Gov, and with me, as always...
You can call me the Ace.
Yeah, and before we get into Art the Clown, I'm going to turn it over to Ace so he can give us some news headlines. What do we got, Ace?
All right here from the news deck, according to iHorror.com, FX renews What We Do in the Shadows for its second season. Ooh. And Marvel's New Mutants, the horror comic hybrid, one of the leftovers from the Fox merger, has finally got a release date of April 3rd, 2020, if you're interested in that.
All right, I'm going to real quick talk about New Mutants.
Go for it.
It finally has a release date, huh? I believe it's had like 8.
Well, this is the most recent.
Yeah, this is the most recent. This is Disney pretty much telling us, yeah, give it time, we're going to dump it. You'll see it on streaming, you'll see it on Instant, you'll see it on fucking bargain bin DVD in Walmart. This movie has had such a bad track record. It was made like 2 years ago, and they've just been shelving it, and this is way before Disney's merger.
Well, it probably sucks.
I'm sure it does suck, so I don't know what we're still hanging on to here. Just dump it. And plus, it doesn't help that the Game of Thrones chick is like bad-mouthing studios for not releasing it. I mean, it's just not a good look. And you got Disney rebooting X-Men currently, so the last thing they want is a shitty movie. I mean, Dark Phoenix is supposed to wrap it all up for Fox's X-Men, but that's my little mini rant on that.
Are you done? Okay.
But moving on, Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone renewed for a second season. That's kind of cool.
Alrighty, that's good.
And, if you guys haven't seen this on Facebook yet, someone was able to recreate the Jaws poster with an actual great white. If you haven't seen that, we'll try to get that up on the Facebook page.
Yes.
And probably the most important news of the week, if you can call it important, if you think it's legit, the Dark Knight writer, David S. Goyer, has announced that he is taking on Hellraiser.
Do you buy it?
I guess only time will tell. I know Clive Barker did endorse it.
Yeah, but wasn't Clive Barker like supposed to do it himself once upon a time? Like, there's been so many different things. There's been, like, the guys who made My Bloody Valentine 3D, they were supposed to reboot it at some point. They were going to do the female, finally give us the female Pinhead. Clive Barker was going to write it and produce it, but not necessarily direct it. There was so many different things. And then David S. Goyer, he's had a track record himself for, like, saying he's going to reboot things. He was originally supposed to reboot The Invisible Man, I think a few years back. He was going to do Masters of the Universe. That's out of his hands now again. So,
well, I think we can agree that they're all in better hands now.
I hope so.
Definitely The Invisible Man.
Yeah, at Blum.
Blumhouse just brought us back Michael Myers and made him scary again. Give him a chance.
Okay. All right. I'll let him have this one.
Win them where they're important.
Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Listen every Friday on SoundCloud. All my children now. Join the Psycho Nation, Pods and Monsters. We have such sights to show you.
So let's get to our topic. Art the Clown.
Art the fucking Clown. This guy.
Definitely creepy.
It's very creepy. I was not expecting what I got with it. And you could tell that it was made with such passion behind it. Like, they didn't have the greatest story. There really wasn't much story to it. And they had a writer, director / special effects artist to really helm it. And it just blew me away.
Well, I mean, here's the thing you got to take in consideration when you're talking about this movie. It's an independent, very low budget. And when did it come out?
Terrifier came out in 2018. It was
2018.
It did the festivals in the end of 2017 and was officially released in 2018.
Okay. And I'm almost certain that All Hallows Eve came out 2 years before that.
Sounds about right.
I want to say about around 2000. So
you guys can correct us in the comments. It's okay.
Or you can not and just listen. It's taken almost 2 years for this thing. It's only been the last year that this movie and this character's really picked up some steam.
It's definitely because of word of mouth.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely because of word of mouth.
Because, I mean, going back, giving my little introduction to this movie and this franchise, I get all the horror magazines, Rue Morgue, Horror Hound, The New Fangor. If you don't have that, get it. Mm-hmm. They've all talked about it. They've all played it up, and, it's going through Netflix and Amazon Prime, you see them. But let's be honest, guys. Independent horror movies are a dime a dozen, and 90% of the time they're shit.
I think that's why I've overlooked it. It's like, yeah, okay, I see them, there, but, like, it's an indie horror movie. They're all the same.
And I did. I'll admit that I did. What corrected me is I am a fan of the Chris Jericho podcast. And he had Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton, on it. And he talked this movie up like I've never heard anybody talk a movie up before. And he's a big horror fan. That drove me to go see it. Fell in love with it. Turned it to you. Even made my wife watch it a couple nights ago.
How'd she love it?
She was terrified of it.
Yeah. It's in the name.
Why am I not surprised?
But she believes it's good.
Yeah.
She thought it was good.
No, I was blown away about how much I liked it and how scary it is. And the best part about it, and we can get into more of a in-depth analysis of Terrifier and All Hallows Eve, but it's two movies that are not afraid to go there.
Sure.
They are not afraid, because let's be honest, horror movies nowadays, mostly because they're studio-driven, they're really released theatrically to a wide audience. They play it safe. As good as it or Halloween 2018 were, in our opinions, they do play a little bit of safety with it. You know what I mean? Terrifier, All Hallows Eve, they just go for it. Damien Leone, he just went for it.
Well, not only did they go for it, but I think the most important thing you can take from this movie is that I think there's a stigma in the horror community that it's all been done before, it's all been replayed, and it's been done over and over and over again until we're sick of it. He proved that you can take the stuff that's been done before and still put a new, fresh spin on it where it's fantastic.
It's not just another killer clown movie.
Again, yeah, exactly. It's a slasher movie. It's a killer clown movie. How many of those have we seen over the decades?
Yeah.
Millions.
Right.
Nothing like this one, though. Not even it comes close to it. It's so different.
It is. And it's surprising. A little bit of a backstory on these films. Art the Clown comes to us from special effects artist turned filmmaker Damien Leone. He created a short film called The Ninth Circle, which was the first appearance of Art the Clown. After positive reactions of releasing the film on YouTube and various festivals, he decided to pursue the character in a standalone short film called Terrifier, which focuses solely on Art the Clown. And then producer Jesse Baggett, or Baguette, however you pronounce it, got into the picture when he saw Ninth Circle and Terrifier, wanted it as a part of a project which was a indie feature-length horror anthology film called All Hallows Eve. It was originally intended to feature other filmmakers and other short horror films, but Leone convinced him to allow him to shoot one more segment and then do the wraparounds, getting the entirely sole credit for the film.
brilliant.
Exactly. Well played, Damien Leone. Which, by the way, Baguette did get the movie he originally wanted with the sequel, All Hallows Eve 2.
Sucked.
Well, it doesn't feature art, but did you see the sequel?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, okay. Just knowing it doesn't feature art is enough to say that it sucks. Yeah. So, I mean, that's such an awesome story. You know, the fact that he was able to do that, and now it's evolved into this because he did All Hallows Eve, and we'll get into the film separately very soon, but it became clear after that film the focus had to shift entirely to Art the Clown.
Well, that's your bread and butter there.
I mean, but like obviously they didn't know that. I mean, I think they knew in the first film that they had a good character, though, a character they could put on the posters, and that's really why Jesse Baguette wanted it. Is like, okay, I could put this character on a poster, and people will go see it.
Oh, sure.
But I don't think it was. It's kind of like, I don't know. A bad example would be the Crypt Keeper, because he did actually become like the face and the icon thing. But you don't see a Crypt Keeper movie. You know what I mean? So I think that's wherein lies the difference.
No, I mean it just goes to show believing in yourself and believing in your work.
And listening to your fans.
Sure, absolutely.
Everyone went nuts over Art the Clown. So what is Art the Clown? Like, what makes him so terrifying, do you think? And why has he created such an impact?
Oh, where do you start? I mean,
because again, like, what sets him apart from being that it's just another killer clown?
you know what? It's hard to describe. It's kind of one of those things where you just gotta watch it. I mean, a lot of it has to go into the performance by David Howard Thornton
For Terrifier.
for Terrifier.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he just took that role and just, you know.
What I enjoy about it is that there's such a mystery behind Art the Clown. You don't know what he is. He doesn't say, and that one of the brilliant things about him is he doesn't make a sound. We're not talking like Jason or Michael or all those other staple serial killers that are just silent and stoic. You're talking about a guy who he's laughing at you, he's smiling, he's doing all these things, and nothing comes out of him. No sound. And that's what makes him really creepy.
Oh, sure.
In my opinion. He's also has this body type. Again, we're leaning more toward David Howard Thornton, of like a Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin silent film character that just, it's unnerving to watch.
Absolutely.
It really is. And the smile with the teeth and the extensive...
The horn.
Yeah.
The only sound he makes is the horn.
Yeah, like... he does things like with the horns, and then like he's getting on his knee and giving him like a 50-cent ring, and in the All Hallows Eve a bouquet of flowers, but then it turns out there's roaches in it. It's just, he's a clown, and that's what makes him so terrifying, that he doesn't stop being a clown. It's just what he finds funny is
what he's
mutilating people. That's what he enjoys, and it's just bizarre.
Absolutely. It hits every element of what makes a clown scary. That phobia of being afraid of clowns. The taking delight in just every little silly thing, but his every little silly thing is tearing you apart.
Yeah.
It's
and a lot of people want, like, the film is not perfect. It does have some detractors, and a lot of people who vote against it say things like, we don't know enough about him, or it's just coming off too much as a stereotypical slasher film. We want to know the backstory of Art the Clown. That's exactly what I don't want to know.
Absolutely. I was just going to say the same thing. Why?
What is wrong with the anonymity behind him? Like, why do you need to know where he comes from, or if he's supernatural or not, or anything?
Who gives a shit if he has to have a reason or not?
Really?
I mean, again, if you want to go into, you know, what the issue is with the other slashers, is that they give too much. That was probably my biggest issue with, like, Michael Myers in the sequels. They gave us too much of Michael Myers.
It's a sign that you have nothing else to write about.
you lost your mystery.
Exactly. Like, it's a sign that, like, you don't know where the movies are going or you don't know where the character is going, so easiest route, origin story. You know?
Sure.
And it's just...
Or give more of the backstory to kind of explain he is the way he is.
Yeah. So now we got Art the Clown showing up at cons. People are cosplaying at him. Go over to Fright Rags. You can find 1 million Art the Clown's shirts. So he is making a huge impact. He is really starting to make a name and face for himself.
Sure.
Now, the two films, All Hallows Eve versus Terrifier. I recently watched both these films. I know it's been a little while for you. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind the first film. Like, I thought it was good. I'm more interested in the production of it. I thought it was really interesting that they took those short films that Damien Leone created and actually made the movie around it. And that's what you saw. The Ninth Circle, which is the first segment in the anthology with the girl in the bus station or the train station. She gets taken by demons and pretty much raped by the devil. And then the last one, Terrifier, which prominently features Art the Clown terrorizing a girl at a gas station. Those were the original short films, and I find that really interesting. In between, you got this alien story, this alien home invasion story. But the movie was a little bit more like one of those indie films we accused just seeing the DVD cover of being. Sure. I'll admit I was wrong with Terrifier, but I feel like I wasn't necessarily wrong with All Hallows Eve.
Well, I mean, again, it's low budget work. I mean, what do you expect? I thought they were good. Mm-hmm. I thought they were good stories. You know, it really reminded me of one of my all-time favorite horror movies, and it's an anthology, Black Sabbath.
Very good.
Art the Clown kind of was the Boris Karloff without the narration.
I didn't even think of that.
He was the glue holding the ship together, so to speak.
Come closer, please. I've something to tell you.
Maybe it was just the pacing that I really did not care for the middle segment, the alien invasion thing. I thought it really slowed the film down. I thought, if anything, like this was them stretching to get that feature length. So let's just have a very slow-paced girl wandering around in the dark. Nothing's working. Her phone's died. Her car's dead. You know, and then the alien shows up and just chases her around for a little while. And you get Art the Clown in the form of a painting, which is creepy. But
well, again, there's that tying. Again, you know, I referenced Black Sabbath. You know, at the end of all the shorts until you got to the short that actually featured Karloff himself in the, you know.
Yeah.
It wrapped back around to him. Now, again, he was playing more narrator than character, but it kind of the same concept.
Yeah, I mean, and typically in horror anthology films, you have those movies that slow it down.
Sure.
You have those chapters that you, even in books, you have those chapters and you kind of browse it and, you know, skip around.
Speed read them.
Yeah, exactly. So, same thing.
It wasn't bad by any stretch of the
No.
imagination. The alien was cool.
Yeah, no. Actually, what I liked about the alien, and I don't think it's entirely original. I feel like I've seen it in another movie, but I really like the concept of the alien's breathing apparatus. His helmet is in the shape of a Martian head. I think that's really cool. That's really cool. No, the movie's not bad by any means. The Terrifier short film obviously stands out.
Absolutely.
And the ending where she is just a disemboweled torso with profanity carved into her body, and like that's the last image of that short is just crazy. Like,
and Art's laughing his ass off, and there's nothing coming out.
Exactly. There is no better representation of Art the Clown than in that shot.
Absolutely.
And then you got the wraparound, you know, with the aunt or the babysitter with the two kids, and like tying that all together with the whole VHS thing,
and
like ending the film, and it's done brilliantly with her watching herself on the TV screen. You know, insert Spaceball joke here.
What the hell am I looking at?
But still,
right?
It was done really, really well.
I agree.
But then we get to Terrifier.
And this is where Art the Clown is perfected.
Exactly. You get to Terrifier, and like I said earlier, first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I was hooked. They found what worked in All Hallows Eve, and they perfected it.
Absolutely.
You know, and just the homage in the beginning, it was very original Nightmare on Elm Street, which I loved. Even down to the color scheme, there's a lot of greens and reds bouncing off the walls, and he kicks the TV screen in a very Freddy Krueger move, and then he goes and he creates his weapons.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it was done so well to hook your audience in.
So what did you like most about Terrifier? Other than, you know, obviously we like Art the Clown, but like, what about it? What scenes? What?
Honestly, for me, it's the bravery that it did.
Hanging a woman
You want to
upside
talk
down.
about? Yeah, you want to talk about the scene that's on everybody's mind? Fuck it, let's just talk about it. Okay?
It's definitely brave.
Yeah, you know what it is? Okay, for those of you who don't know,
Definitely not a Me Too approved kill.
no, it's not. And if you hate spoilers, turn us off right now or skip ahead because we're going to tell you what happens. Art the Clown brilliantly or sadistically hangs a woman upside down and slits her in half lengthwise from vajayjay to throat. That's the movie we're dealing with, people.
It was fantastic.
It was so good. Oh my God. I'm sitting there going, no, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. And sure enough, they fucking did it. Oh, God.
But that was the fun part of the movie because you never knew what he was going to do next. Who knew that he was going to, a slasher, going to pull a gun?
That's true. That's true. And with that, they also pull a 180 on you, and you're following this one girl, and halfway through the movie, she's dead.
Sure.
You think you got the heroine. It's almost like another Janet Leigh situation from Psycho. You know, like it's this girl. We're going to follow her through the whole thing. And it's almost like a direct homage to Psycho. She's dead, and now we follow her sister.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So again, it's just done very smartly, and it's that, to answer your question, that bravery. The fact that they will go there, and that's not like, I mean, that's probably the worst thing that happens in the movie, but it's not like the only thing that happens by any means.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about you?
Oh, I mean, again, obviously that scene kind of takes the cakes as far as
That's what
kills.
you remember. That's definitely what you remember.
That's it's a scene that you don't forget. Again, I was really impressed that they were just willing to, you know, go to that area that most studios won't go, and they were willing to break rules. Again, the fact that Art the Clown kills someone with a Glock, you know, holy shit. I mean, who would have ever thought you would see the slash killer pull out a gun and just start pumping rounds into someone?
Listening to David Howard Thornton on Chris Jericho's podcast, another shout out to Jericho. He actually put it in perspective of why he did that, why he turned the gun on the girl and just shot her. You want to know why? Because he wasn't having fun with her anymore. He wasn't making her laugh because he felt she wasn't scared of him.
And it's brilliant.
It's brilliantly done. So he was not having fun with her. So just put her out of his misery.
End it.
Yeah. Go on to the next joke.
Yep.
Exactly. It was so good. So well done. And it's so brave. It takes those chances. You know, I hate to tell you people, but one of the things that makes a horror movie a great horror movie is the horrible things that happen in it. You know what I mean?
That's what you go to watch it for.
Exactly. So the fact that we have a writer, a director, and an actor who realizes that and recognizes that and gives us that, it's just a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely.
For horror movies.
Absolutely.
And that's what I took most out of this, and that's what I really liked about it. It wasn't afraid. It was fearless. There's nothing to really debate about here, but I'll give you one. Mike Giannelli versus David Howard Thornton. Yes, there are two Art the Clowns, two different actors, two different portrayals. Which one did Art the best? But I know we're going to agree on this.
Well, of course we're going to agree on this. I mean, David Howard Thornton took the character and made it his own.
It started
kind of like Kane Hodder with Jason.
Yes, good example.
Good example. He took what was there, what was already established, which was already creepy, and made it his own everything.
Mike Giannelli did a great job. He did a wonderful job introducing the character.
And he was creepy as fuck.
He was too. It started from him. And from what I understand in my research, he was asked to come back to do Terrifier. He decided that he wanted to pursue other things, do other roles, or just stop acting. I'm not really sure. He turned it down. And open auditions, it goes to David Howard Thornton, who took what Mike Giannelli did and perfected it.
Absolutely.
To a T. And of course, again, it also goes to horror movie writing. Like, some of the best horror things are written by comedy writers, but that also goes to actors. David Howard Thornton, I found out, is mostly a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He does comedic work. He does children's theater. He was touring with the Grinch around the time he got the audition for Terrifier. That's crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I can see it. I can see why that he would be perfect for this role.
Sure.
Absolutely. So, again, we're agreeing that between the two arts, they nailed it with Terrifier.
Absolutely.
With David Howard Thornton.
Absolutely. I think All Hallows Eve, great introduction to the character. He definitely established something that was creepy and scary and different, but Terrifier took it to that next level and really established what this character is and can be.
So, future for art. What would you like to see happen to this character?
Well, I would like to see a studio get behind it, but not a major studio. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see like the lower end of Blumhouse take it on.
Going back to Blumhouse again, man.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Blumhouse is they've got.
You're such a fucking groupie, man.
Well, they're the only people, with the exception of Terrifier, that's been doing anything relevant in the horror genre for the last 10 fucking years.
I'll give you that. Okay.
So, I mean...
But it doesn't mean that they have to do everything,
they don't
does
have
it?
to... No, and again, I'm not saying it has to be Blumhouse. I would like to see even a smaller studio, but with a name, that's going to get them on a more national, a more mainstream level.
I see what you're saying. I definitely think it needs to grow bigger than, Netflix or DVDs or just the festival circuit. I definitely think it needs to grow bigger than its indie status right now. However, I am very afraid of it getting too big. You know what I mean? Because one of the great things about those horror movies that we love, with Freddy Krueger or Jason or Michael, they were indie movies, but they were made at a time where you had to do something theatrically. Now you don't necessarily have to. There's so many outlets for movies. This is a movie that would have been, released to 300 theaters. After 300, you go to 500. After 500, you go to 1,000. The escalation. Sure. So in that sense, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yes, does it deserve more eyes on it? Absolutely it should. Do I think it will hurt it if it gets too big? Absolutely I do.
Well, see, I disagree, guys. I mean, that depends on the creator, on how close they, how tight of a reins he keeps on it. If he keeps sticks to his integrity, like we talked about with how he basically took complete control over All Hallows Eve.
Right. I mean, because, he was dealing with a guy who pretty much just wanted to take a bunch of YouTube shorts and make a feature-length movie out of it. He's like, don't bother with those assholes. I'll make you an anthology. And I that's great. If he can keep that integrity even with a bigger studio, regardless of how big Art the Clown gets or the franchise gets, it's still going to keep that integrity. Right.
So, I mean, talking about it getting too big for what it's worth falls on him, and keeping the integrity of the story and the integrity of the characters.
Do you think in the aftermath of it, Art the Clown would stand out? Because, again, on the surface, it looks like just another killer clown.
That is a tough one, because
it is
the first It Part 1 was so popular.
Mm-hmm.
And with Part 2 coming out,
the anticipation for Part 2
is so big. I mean, it's so hard to compete with Stephen King. Anything Stephen King. Especially when you got Stephen King working like it is, unlike Pet Sematary.
Oh, fuck. Pet Sematary.
We're not going to talk about that.
You know, another thing is if a major studio were to take it, even if it's a sub-city, like you're suggesting, have a sub-city of a major studio take it over, they'll clean it up. There's no doubt in my mind they won't clean it up. You won't have that scene in Terrifier. I guarantee you.
Well, then, you know...
Or if you do, you're not going to see it by any means. You're not going to see her intestines fall out, and then you're not going to see the aftermath. It's going to be implied.
Right.
You know?
Oh, no selfies?
Yeah, right. Oh, my God. That was the best fucking part. It was her comeuppance for, you know, doing a selfie with him in a pizza parlor. It was so well done. Oh, my God.
I don't know. I thought his favorite... my favorite move of his is when he gets stabbed in the foot with a nail, and he doesn't scream. He flips the chick off.
Well, he can't scream. He's so silent. Like, he doesn't even make breathing noises. He's not like Michael Myers breathing through a mask.
I laughed my ass off when I saw that.
Oh, my God. How about one other thing before we go more down this rabbit hole? One other thing. Him doing a Leatherface and putting on the girl's body and hair.
Brilliant.
Oh, my God. It was
Brilliant.
And then he walks around like he's a girl and like he's sauntering and then the way they photographed it through a keyhole, you know what I mean? It wasn't just normal coverage. It was through the girl's point of view through a keyhole. Oh my God! I can go on forever about this movie. I really could.
Guys, if you haven't seen this movie, go on Netflix, watch the fucking movie.
It is not a flash in the pan, and it has the potential to be the next horror movie icon if done right.
Absolutely.
If done right from here on.
Absolutely. No question about that. You have an actor who, from everything I've heard and read, wants to make this his own and be a legacy for him.
He loves this character. This is his Freddy Krueger, and he said that. He goes, he has such a grip on the character, and he loves the character that he will see it through to the end. And honestly, I don't know who you could get to do it better.
No.
Just from his physicality, his body mannerism, his body language, his creepy face, even with all the makeup, you can see him coming through it, and his gaunt structure, he's perfect.
Sure, and the approach to how he did it. I mean, he gave a pantomime performance, just like the classic
He did a
Frankenstein.
Yes, he did a silent movie performance. And he didn't have to say a word, and you knew exactly what he was thinking.
And he was scary as fuck.
Absolutely. So anyway, in wrapping this off, we got to definitely just say, Art the Clown, we love you, and we can't wait to see more of you, you crazy son of a bitch.
Give us more. Give us more. Give us more. Give us more.
Hey, you fucking psychos, this is the Gov here. If you are a fan of Pods and Monsters and at the same time an aspiring filmmaker who just made the next great horror movie and want to talk about it, then we are fans of yours. Contact us at podsandmonstercast@gmail.com and tell us about yourself as well as your projects. Who knows, you may find yourself in the headquarters of Psycho Nation talking with Ace and myself in an upcoming episode. This podcast is made by fans for the fans of horror. So let's help each other out, huh? podsandmonstercast@gmail.com. Tell them the Gov sent you.
So in closing the show, we can agree that Art the Clown, he's sticking around. He's the real deal. Guys, if you haven't seen All Hallows Eve, if you haven't seen Terrifier and you're a horror fan, don't make an excuse. Go see it.
Don't be like us. Don't put it off. You need to see this.
Fantastic movies, creepy movies, scary movies. But next week, unlike this week, I don't think we're going to be agreeing as much.
No, we're not.
Because next week on Pods and Monster Kiddos, we are going to begin
the countdown
to Orion's remake of Child's Play.
Yes.
Starting with the original Child's Play.
1988.
So that's what's coming up in the next few weeks as we approach that. But even though we have the next few weeks of shows planned out, I want to emphasize that this is a listener participation suggested show. We encourage it. We want to know what you feel about the show. We want to know about
the movies we talk about.
We want your opinions, and we want suggestions.
Absolutely.
If there's a movie that we haven't seen or you don't think we would talk about,
throw it at us. Who knows? We'll tackle it if we think we have something to say about it. And also, if you want to come at us with a opinion or comment, just make sure to back it up. Don't just, be a keyboard warrior and say shit about the show if you don't like it. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. But if you have something to say, we'll definitely bring it up and talk about it here on Pods and Monsters.
We're not afraid to name drop.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you got a legit point, we'll talk about it. But if you're going to be like, oh, you're a fucking dick, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, we don't have time for you.
So, thanks for listening. Next week, Child's Play, the original.
On Pods and Monsters.
See you later, Psycho Nation.